Hey guys, what's up? This is Diego here at Cinemageddon Reviews. So, we reached the third installment in my Transformers reviews leading up to Rise of the Beast. Last time we talked about Revenge of the Fallen. But today, I'm in a much better mood because it's a much better film. So let's talk about Transformers Dark of the Moon. And as with the previous two movies, this is going to contain spoilers. You have been warned. Let's get started. Needless to say, Revenge of Megatron's 2 minutes of screen time was one of the worst movies ever, and the people behind the film were made very aware of that, so they decided to switch it up this time by removing Skiz and Mudflap, thank God, and introducing a Soviet Cold War era type conspiracy involving the Decepticons and Megatron and Sentinel Prime and Frances McDormand and Patrick Dempsey? Okay. So this movie was better than Revenge of the Fallen, but it still wasn't as good as the first one. It did improve a few things over the original Transformers movie, but it still had a lot of the same flaws. We'll get to those in a second. But positives first. I liked that this movie tied in with the moon landing in 1969, and it goes a little more into the war between the Autobots and the Decepticons. I feel like this time I cared a lot more about the conflict this time around. The opening scene of this movie was great. The war scene on Cybertron and the twist they added behind the moon landing was fascinating. I feel like if this had been the whole movie, it might have been the best in the three films that we had so far. And like with all Transformers movies, the action scenes and the CGI are great. It just goes to show that no action scene is boring if it's directed by...
Don't even think about it.
Oh. Hey, Sebastian.
Diego, this is an intervention.
What? Why?
Look, you get it. We know who directed all of these movies. I get the joke. You clearly get the joke. My girlfriend gets the joke. Everyone gets the joke. The first time it was funny. The second time was okay. But after the 10th time, if the audience doesn't get annoyed with it, I fucking will!
Do what?
The explosions. You know, every time you say the director's name...
Oh, you mean my...
Stop. No. No. Stop talking. Diego, I swear to God, I may be white, but I'm also Hispanic. I may not have a chancla, so I had to resort to drastic measures. You will stop saying his name again. Say the name again, and I swear to God I am canceling this review like Vic Mignogna on Twitter.
Alright, fine. The director knows how to direct action scenes.
That's better. You may continue.
In the case of Optimus Prime, this movie spends a lot more time fleshing him out and giving him a motivation. He's not just the wise, brave leader of the Autobots. In this movie, Optimus has a lot more of a purpose in the story. He feels a lot more like a real, flawed character who makes mistakes. I actually found it pretty compelling and refreshing for a change. So famously, Megan Fox did not appear in the final cut of this movie. There was some behind-the-scenes drama that I'm not going to go into because I don't really know exactly what happened, but I'm pretty sure it didn't end on good terms, I think. But they wrote in a new character this time, played by Rosie Huntington-Whiteley to replace her, and I actually liked her. A lot of people don't. Personally, I understand why. I feel like Michaela was more of a doer and wasn't afraid to get involved in stuff, whereas Carly felt a lot more like a damsel in distress. But I still thought Sam and Carly's relationship was better. I don't know, they just felt more intimate with each other, which I liked. Also, out of the three Transformers movies he's in, I think this is Shia LaBeouf's best work. I think that he has some pretty funny scenes, like actually funny scenes, and gets pretty emotionally heavy in a lot of moments. It actually really impressed me. You could tell he was getting better and better with every film. The problem is the movies weren't. When the movie starts off, after that awesome opening scene, we get to look at what Sam has been up to. He is kind of down in the dumps because he doesn't feel like he matters anymore. He's not really involved with the Autobots anymore, and he wants to get a job where he feels like he can make a difference in the world. Throughout the first and second act, they keep bringing up Michaela, and they talk about how much of a bitch she is and how much she betrayed Sam and hurt him. And I kind of feel like this is the director's subtle little digs at her. Which, way to keep it professional, buddy. As with the first Transformers, there were plenty of human characters that we just didn't need. John Turturro's back again, don't need him. Alan Tudyk, don't need him. Ken Jeong, annoying as fuck. Frankly, not only did we not need him, I kind of wish I had unseen this.
That's why I'm not... Don't. I'm gonna hit you.
I'm gonna hit you right back, son. It's my manifesto.
Think of all the characters we could have focused on instead. I mean, for example, Megatron and Starscream, you almost forgot they're even in the movie. Bumblebee, once again, we don't focus enough on his relationship with Sam. The other Autobots, just there for the action scenes, not fleshed out at all. Barricade, remember him? Only in the movie in one scene, disappears again and doesn't show up until the 5th movie. John fucking Malkovich, horribly underused. Instead, we had Frances McDormand and Patrick Dempsey, which, they're good actors, it's just... holy shit, those are dumb characters. Frances McDormand's entire purpose in this movie is to remind people how much she's in charge. She basically adds nothing to the story except make it longer. Same with Patrick Dempsey. There was this stupid love triangle that has this twist where Patrick Dempsey's working for the Decepticons. He's trying to negotiate being spared once the Decepticons are done with their plan, which you already know is not going to end in his favor.
And when Cybertron's here and we're all their slaves, I guess they'll still need a human leader.
Don't jinx me. You want to survive? You listen to me.
My question is, if this was the Decepticons' plan all along, and if they had been planning this since the last days of the war on Cybertron, then why wasn't this mentioned at all in the first or second movie? I mean, wouldn't it have made it easier for the Decepticons to acquire the Allspark if they could, blackmail and threaten Sam and his family? That movie would have been over in 20 minutes. Speaking of time saving, the world governments in this movie act incredibly fast. Early in the movie, it's discovered that there's a crashed Autobot ship on the dark side of the moon, and then that same day, the Autobots land there to investigate. Sentinel Prime betrays the Autobots and then threatens the entire human race, saying that if they don't kick the Autobots off Earth, they'll kill everyone. And then the next day, they pass legislation for that to happen. I mean, if this was any other type of political issue, it would take years to put into effect. Maybe even decades. Also, Frances McDormand is in charge, right? I mean, isn't she the National Security Director or whatever? Why doesn't she do something to stop that?
They can't do this. You gotta tell them they can't do that.
Okay, it's official. To go, people!
These are our allies. The Autobots fought for us. They fought with us.
And where are we now? Facing an enemy invasion. With an enemy that has the means to deploy countless more.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I thought you were in charge or something.
Stand down! Hey, Sentinel! What is going on? What do you think you're doing?
Also, the movie's resolution is extremely quick. The third act is pretty much non-stop action, but once it stops dead. Boom, Optimus kills Sentinel Prime, Sam and Carly love each other, 10-second narration from Optimus Prime, end credits. Not even kidding, it takes less than 5 minutes from the moment Sentinel Prime is killed to the end credits. That being said, Transformers Dark of the Moon did give us a lot more time with Optimus. They fleshed him out a little bit more. The action scenes were pretty fun, especially in the third act, even though a couple of them didn't make a whole lot of sense. And they did improve the humor somewhat over Revenge of the Fallen. Then again, it didn't take much for that to happen, so with that said, my rating for Transformers Dark of the Moon is 5.5 out of 10. Well, anyway, guys, my next review in the Transformers series is going to be for Age of Extinction. If you thought Revenge of the Fallen was bad, get ready. Because I'm not. I'm scared. As always, guys, be sure to like this video and subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Twitter and support our Patreon, please. We'd really appreciate that. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Diego for Cinemageddon Reviews, and I'll see you on the Wasteland.